What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 59 of Clips and Dip. I am Chuck Mockler, joined as always by Adam Oslin and William Updike. We are hopefully your favorite Clippers pod. You can find us anywhere you find podcasts. You can watch us at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast if you'd like to share our shining faces. Clippers are in the midst of a standing battle, so we're going to be doing a quick standings check. There's some games we should all be hoping for tonight that go one particular way. We're going to talk maybe how we felt about that Pelicans win, and then the Clippers have a back-to-back against the Mavs. But before we get into all of that, it's raining in Los Angeles all of a sudden. Adam and Will, how are you guys doing? How are you feeling after that Pelicans win? Will, how you doing?
I mean, I think Zoo summed it up pretty well, where he was talking about like how it's kind of like F anytime they see the Pelicans on the schedule for whatever reason, no matter what configuration the team has, they seem to have the Clippers number. So, well, even though they were down guys, and I think all of us said, this is a must win, should be kind of a gimme win. It still feels good. It still feels good to get one over on the Pelicans. I do not know why that team gives us so much trouble, but whatever, man. I'll take the win. I'll take the win.
Whatever, man, is a good way to look at it. Adam, how are you feeling? Also, Adam, is that a new hat?
Are you gonna ask that every episode?
New hat?
Chuck's effing with me because last time
I
was going to wear my blue one this time, but yeah, it's one of those days. I'm just trying to get through it. Just like the Clippers were against the Pelicans, just trying to get through it. They did. They came out on top. I love how relatable Ivica Zubats was. Yeah, post game in the locker room, expressing what every Clippers fan feels.
I like that they're at least aware. You know what I mean? Because it is like, as a fan, it's been this way for years. Even like pre-2-1-3, like when the team was rolling, suddenly they hit the Pelicans, and it's like, what the hell is going on here?
I think they had won 12 of the last 16 games against the Clippers going into that game last night.
It's unreal.
Yeah, it's not like it's a very it doesn't make any goddamn
and like the
sense.
Chemistry of it, like the entire like configuration of both teams has changed so much, and it just still doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't get it.
I'm incredibly happy we got the win. The Clippers sit at 7th as of this recording. Relevant games tonight: Wolves at Nets, Grizzlies at Heat, and then Warriors at Lakers. Which it's unfortunate both of those teams can't lose, but I'm not saying we're rooting for the Lakers, but a Warriors loss would be nice, is how I'm going to phrase it.
Yeah. You just root for the Warriors. Don't think about the Laker part. Just root for the Warriors to lose tonight. A couple of interesting things just happened in the other two games. First, Ja Morant did another gun celebration after a made shot, which might get him suspended this time. And Anthony Edwards rolled up his ankle on a Nets coach on the sidelines and had to be, I think, helped to the locker room. They're playing Brooklyn. Like, the injury looked a little bit scary. Hopefully he's okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Timberwolves are up 12 at halftime on the Nets, so I wonder if they just hold him out of the rest of that game, because theoretically they should have enough to beat the Nets even down and the Grizzlies are kind of locked in a battle with the Heat. They're down 1 at halftime. Maybe things will go right. I don't know. Maybe everyone will lose. Clippers sit at 7th as of this recording. It might change by the end of this. Who picked Bogdan for player of the game? Was that Will against the Pels?
Probably. No, I picked Big Ben.
Oh yeah, and I picked. But did you pick Bogdan, Adam?
No one did.
I think I picked Dunn.
Yeah, damn, no one did.
Nah, too easy.
See,
that's another one it's a little too easy.
Maybe we add him to the list. Maybe we can only choose Chris Dunn, Derek Jones Jr., or Ben Simmons. Well, Bogdan had a great shooting night. Norm, we talked about wanting to have a good shooting night and didn't. Stunk, as some Clippers commentators would say. Bogdan's trending up. Norm's doing okay. Does that mean anything heading into the playoffs?
My boy Bogdan's been up, yo. He shot
Okay, that's not
47% in March, and I think he played every game. That's 16 games from three. Like Bogdan is shooting 41% from three as a Clipper. Like, and it's been there for like 2 weeks now, that same number.
Does it mean anything for the rotation?
Yeah.
No, not to disrespect how good Bogdan's been. I don't mean it like that, but like
I know. No, I think it gives an opportunity if Norm is struggling in a ball game and you want to go a different direction late in the fourth quarter, you could roll with Bogdan. And B. Shaw did it one game. I think it was the game winner from Kawhi, that game against Sacramento.
Yeah, people
and
were
he
really
just rode the hot
excited.
hand.
Yeah.
But then last night we saw Bogey and Norm playing together. Bogey in place of Chris Dunn with the rest of the starters late in that game. So he offers a little bit more. I shouldn't even say a little bit more. He offers a lot more self-creation and playmaking for others. Bogey does. He's not the guy who can drive past two defenders and get to the basket for a quick layup like Norm Powell can.
Or fouls.
Yeah.
I mean, that's useful. Norm's foul hunting will be useful in the playoffs.
I understand your point about, like closing lineups and versatility. It's in no way an either or situation for me. Like Bogey is so essential because the second unit is a little bit it's a little suspect. There's some guys, but offensively they could use the lift. And so I think that both of them coexisting makes sense. Not necessarily saying play them together in the same lineups. Depending on the machination, it's still probably not my favorite. But to me, it's not like an either or situation. Maybe if there's like a hot hand at the end of the game, but Bogey is very necessary for the second unit.
So necessary.
It might be either or late in the fourth quarter is what I'm saying. Not Bogey's going to start over Norm or anything now.
I think in the playoffs, if the Clippers are down 0-2 or something and Norm's not feeling it, maybe we see a change. It just like we talked about with the Dunn thing, right? Like Ty Lue's not afraid of making those changes. But yeah, I don't think anything's changing.
Of those two players, of Chris Dunn and Norm Powell, in a playoff situation down to, in a hypothetical, which of those two guys do you think is realistically coming out of the lineup?
Well, I think it depends how they're playing too, right? If Norm's just shooting like shit.
I'm saying hypothetical. A hypothetical. If you were sitting here right now and you were to diagnose the problem, the Clippers are down 0-2, who's coming out of the starting lineup? It's probably not Norm.
It's probably not Norm unless he's shooting 8%. Unless he's shooting Dunn percentages. I guess. It's probably not Norm.
Dunn will have a shorter leash.
Oh, yeah. And rightfully so. Because we saw very much on display how a bad defensive team guarded Chris Dunn last night, which was Kelly Olynyk not even looking at Chris Dunn, even when he was bringing the ball up. Like, thankfully, Chris Dunn went 4 for 8 from the floor. I think he hit 2 threes in a row, which, I mean, if you bet that, you should probably get some help. But Ty Lue mentioned that he trusts to get to the next action if he doesn't like the shot. But, like, we're going to see – I don't know if looking forward is the right word. I'm interested to see how this looks against a better defense than quite literally the worst defense in the league over these next 2 games.
I asked Coach Lue pregame about Dunn versus DJ and just what he likes, one guy versus the other. And I specifically asked if it's still matchup dependent. And he said, we're going with Chris Dunn. He's been the guy over the last month. And he likes 2 things about him. Another ball handler out there to take a lot of the pressure off of James Harden and point of attack defense.
Does it, like, how much pressure is it taking off, though? When you have a non-shooter and a guy that is negative gravity on the floor. Again, sorry, I'm getting down on Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn, a lot of good. I don't know how we got into this scenario, and now we're dumping on Chris Dunn. That's my bad. I feel like I started this whole thing. This is my bad.
A hard reset. We're hitting the hard reset.
I think there could be something to the fact that when we all thought for a second James Harden and his shooting numbers were way down and it looked worse than ever, and maybe he's hit the wall and he's overtaxed, and then he had a resurgence. And I wonder, a lot of that, of course, is about Kawhi getting back to regular minutes. But are they thinking there is another effect, and it's partially on Kawhi and it's partially on Chris Dunn, to where James Harden is playing much more off ball or not having to bring the ball up the floor as much, and that is saving him, and that's why he's looked fresher over the past 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. Like, I joked with Rousseau earlier,
like
is
that. I
is
like
it an
that train of
unstatable thing where it's theoretical that if Harden is not bringing the ball up as much, maybe that's why the shooting numbers are up. I don't know. Dunn is much better at
I see
that
the
than
logic.
DJ.
And has gotten better at it too. Because
Yeah.
Dunn earlier in the season, it was kind of like, oh shit, we have no one else who can hit. Dunn's I was down on him earlier in the season. He's gotten a lot better at it, or just more comfortable, which also helps with Kawhi being back.
He's looked more like what I had expected. Because early in the season, I was kind of like, I guess I had thought that he was more of like a table setter and facilitator than he looked at the beginning of the season. But it's definitely like picked up more to sort of what I was expecting, I guess. So that makes sense. And I think, I mean, it's been more than a month with him in the starting. Like, ever since they announced the rotating starting lineup, how many times did DJJ actually
Only when
even
Kawhi's
start?
hurt.
Like
It's
3?
only been when there hasn't been a full lineup, is when it was a rotating starting lineup.
And I mean, part of it he was Derek Jones Jr. was out with an injury, of course. But I think even when he was healthy, like, I'm thinking like it was 2 or maybe 3 starts.
It's been rotating when they've literally had to because someone's been hurt. Like, we haven't had a fully healthy. I don't think we've had a fully healthy roster with Derek Jones Jr. as your starter, as you were saying, since like that announcement or whatever.
I wonder if they've looked at fourth quarter numbers or second half numbers with James Harden to see specifically if it's looked like he's had more gas in the tank with Kawhi starting next to Dunn when they've had the full roster. Is there something to that? Because the logic of getting the best version you can of James Harden late in the ball game, if that means playing Chris Dunn to start things off, that makes sense to me. Like,
right.
if that's working, and the other part of it is, where would you put him then? What about the second unit? Can you really put him next to Ben Simmons out there instead of DJ? It's not like the numbers with Chris Dunn, like he's a net negative out there and DJ is the net positive. It's like DJ, they're 20 points better per 100 possessions with him in the starting 5. Dunn's like 5 points better, positive net rating wise. It's not a negative. It's just going from pretty good to outstanding with DJ.
Right. And
smaller sample size though.
Going outstanding with DJ.
They're about the same.
And
that's right. You brought that up.
Their minutes next to the other 4 guys are like almost identical.
Yeah. I remember you were saying that because in my head, Dunn definitely has more.
Right. Well, it's just been recently. It's just been like when we've had the full roster, which has been recently, Dunn's been out there.
It probably is true that starting the game off with those guys, more of those minutes have been done. DJ has found his way with those guys in other situations, like later in the game.
Yeah. Would you say that you were whelmed by the Clippers' performance against the Pelicans? Not underwhelmed, not overwhelmed, but whelmed.
I mean, yeah, I can't say overwhelmed, but like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't know what kind of magic the Pelicans are doing pre-game, post-game, during the game, but it seems to be working.
They're sending everyone a bunch of beignets, so everyone's real sleepy.
There's some voodoo going on there for sure.
I'm just glad it's over.
That's how I felt. I was like, this is great. Let's get out of here.
Survive.
Get back to LA. We have a back-to-back. Adam, you
was in LA.
Oh shit, that's right. Sorry. I was out of it. Adam, you talked the bogey Norm lineup, which I think 213 Hoops called the all offense lineup. It was Harden, Norm, Bogey, Kawhi, and Zoo. They played 7 minutes last night. They were plus 11 in those 7 minutes. This is another lineup I'm looking forward to seeing against a not dead last in the NBA made up of new guys, defensive stuff. Because this is a lineup Defensively, it's a little scary. You're asking Kawhi and Zoo to do quite a bit, but offensively, pretty damn good. You got a lot of bases covered with this lineup.
I think they're just looking to outscore you with that lineup. And
Yeah.
It might work. And defensively, you at least have two very good defenders surrounded by three shaky guys that could be undersized. It's a total matchup dependent thing, I'm guessing. He wouldn't throw it out there against anyone. But I don't know. That's a lot of shooting. They can definitely overwhelm you with their shooting with that lineup.
Hopefully,
Yeah, I mean,
theoretically.
Right, because if the shooting's not there,
It's like I
you're bleeding points. Because in that lineup too, they were +7 or whatever. They were giving up looks at the basket.
The Cleveland game is such an outlier, but like I don't feel good about this team in a shootout. If that's the situation that we're in, I don't feel great about that. And yeah, like situationally or against certain lineups, sure, maybe that's what it calls for. But I'm probably not begging to see a lot more of this lineup. It's like antithetical to the makeup of the team.
The team's success, yeah.
Like I like it. I like these guys. But it's not something I'm probably clamoring to see a whole lot of, because I feel like that means things have gone a little haywire.
Yeah, we're down, I think, if we see that lineup. We're like, we need some quick.
And this was a game where things kind of went a little
That's
haywire.
what I'm saying. I was whelmed. Did we see at all the lineup that's only played 7 minutes that we want to see, which is Batum with the starters, basically? Did that play at all last night?
I don't believe so.
I don't think it did. I think 213 would have tweeted about it.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I was paying attention to the second quarter and fourth quarter lineups, that second unit with Kawhi next to Ben Simmons, next to Bogey, DJ, and Batum. I was tracking that. So, yeah, I don't think they did it. Holding it back.
They're holding it back quite a bit.
Holding it back. Get
7
ready.
minutes.
Bottle up and explode.
We'll see, man. It's a long fuse. Let's just say to let that thing go. I do want to
get to.
I do want to see that lineup more than the all offense lineup, to Will's point, because that lineup seems useful on both ends, whereas the all offense lineup, as we're calling it, is a go get a bucket lineup.
Yeah. Go well.
I think that I mean, Nico is just so sort of entrenched in this team that I also understand, like, maybe there's less of an emphasis on trying it out. I don't know. I mean, like we talked last episode, I don't know how coy you really need to be with lineups when you're staring down the play-in potentially. But I do think that there is enough like familiarity, and Nico's certainly been with this team and these guys enough that you could feel pretty confident in using that lineup without necessarily a whole lot of time on the floor. Would you like to see more of it? Of course. But it's like Nico is so consistent, and he kind of does the same things in lineup to lineup that it's not like it's not a question mark. There's
how
not
is
like
he gonna look?
And that's another reason. And that's another reason why I don't think they're being like super coy with this as like a tactic, because it's like, yeah, okay, if you've seen this team in the playoffs in the last number of years, you've seen like something similar to these lineups. Not with James Harden, not with Norman, the starting lineup, but you've seen Nico around essentially all. You've
seen the
guys.
3-4-5 of Kawhi, Nico, Zoo. We know, yeah, for sure. That's a good point. The familiarity is huge.
I do think that is part of the reason they can hold it back.
Yeah,
Coach Lou knows exactly what he has.
I like Adam's theory that this is like an elaborate Rube Goldberg machine to drop a single Mentos and a 2-liter Diet Coke. It's about to explode.
That's what it feels like, man.
This lineup's gonna be the fresh maker.
Man, So Nico's the fresh maker.
The fresh maker is the lineup. That is, I love that.
That's what this lineup is called, is the fresh maker. Any other thoughts on the Pels game lineup stuff before we get to the 2-1 Mavs preview because it's a back-to-back.
When Kawhi Leonard post-game is admitting that the first game back after a long road trip when you're still on East Coast time is difficult, it probably means it is. Avitsa Zubac said that. Carlos said that, he was on the trip with them. The last 9 days they were on East Coast time. They come back. Zoo was like, yeah, it was like we started at 10 tonight.
Yeah, but
said he was
isn't it
tired.
the same issue? Isn't it the same issue for the Pelicans because they live in East Coast time, but are for some reason in the Western Conference?
Well, you accept a road team to struggle though. Typically, they're the home team in this case.
That's what I'm saying. You would expect the Clippers in that scenario to have the quote unquote rest advantage, the time zone, the jet lag advantage, if you will.
You'd think the Clippers would have the advantage in that game last night, but really they were in the same spot.
It's an old team issue, I guess.
That too.
It's a New Orleans thing. I don't know.
It's something weird with when we play the Pels. I don't know what it is. Also, shout out Carlo. My nephew recognized him when we were at the Cavs game, and he talked to him. That was very nice. Thank you for doing that, Carlo. All right, we are about to talk the Everyone's getting a 2-for-1 this episode. You're getting 2 game previews in one. Coming up, if you're listening to us on audio, there's going to be some quick ads. If you're watching us at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast, no ads that we put in. So we're going to do some ads and then Mavs talk in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back into Clips and Dip. We talked to Clippers wonky win over the Pelicans. Now we're looking ahead to the back-to-back against the Mavericks both times, in case you were unaware. Clippers will be taking on the Mavs at home. A home back-to-back is at least nice. Hopefully they're rested up from East Coast time at that point. Not sure how many days it takes at that age, but it's difficult. It's a difficult world. As far as the first game of this back-to-back, no Ben Simmons. Kawhi is expected to play. Looks like he's going to play unless anything changes in the next however many hour or whatever before the injury report comes out. But yeah, what are you guys looking for in this one, Adam? I'll kick it over to you. Clippers got to go 2-0 here.
Yeah. But as I mentioned on the last show, I don't feel as strongly that they're going 2-0 against Dallas with the way they've been playing with Anthony Davis. But is the logic here play Kawhi when Anthony Davis plays that game? Like, is Anthony Davis playing tomorrow night, and that's why they're playing Kawhi instead of playing him on Saturday, which Law kind of threw out there, that idea, which I kind of agreed with?
I mean, why? Like, my question is, why wouldn't you? It's beneficial, obviously, to both teams. It's beneficial for the league, even.
Is that game on ESPN?
So,
is that a nationally televised game? Because at the beginning of the season, they thought they were getting the Clippers versus Luka in Dallas.
Right. This also gives Kawhi an extra day off because Kawhi will take Saturday off, and then that's either 4 days of rest before the Spurs or 5 ahead of the Houston game.
When's the Houston game's on Wednesday, right?
It's a back-to-back.
Yeah, but it's Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's 4 days for Houston.
Yeah. Sorry.
Either way, he was getting some rest.
Game. I don't think this one's on ESPN. Yeah.
Maybe it's just Kawhi feels good.
But he can't do. It might be that. Like, Kawhi's just like, let me play. Like, I'm feeling it, right? Like, we've talked how this team maybe with too much rest, it's not ideal.
He's been
Clippers game tomorrow. Yeah, is not on ESPN. It is just a regular ass game.
Maybe they're trying to match firepower because Anthony Davis is playing that game, so we're having Kawhi for that one.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. I feel a lot better about the Clippers' chances if Anthony Davis is playing to have Kawhi playing. Because we definitely, if we don't go 2-0, we definitely got to split this. Because if they don't, shit gets real bleak pretty quick.
I still feel decently that they're going 2-0. Just they have something to play for now. As Will mentioned, they're trying to show something to sell season tickets for next year and give the fan base something to look forward to. Hey, we're going to be in the play-in, and our future is bright. We have a 32-year-old
off injured.
Injury-prone center who's really good when healthy. AD could cook. But yeah, Dallas is no longer just circling the drain. Some of this is Phoenix's fault. If they weren't so bad, Dallas wouldn't feel like they're still going to be in the play-in this year. But now it's close to a lock.
I was going to say that I would say they're pretty much a lock for the play-in.
Yeah, I think that's fair. They've been good over their last 4 games, as Adam has been talking about. I was looking at their stats. They're shooting well from 3. They're grabbing the same amount of boards as the Clippers. They're not good in offensive rebounding percentage, though, which is nice. I hope.
Neither are we.
I know. But we need that. We don't need to battle a team that's good on the offensive glass. AD's averaging 29 and 3.5 and 2 blocks. PJ Washington and Clay are shooting it well. Like, it's not going to be easy tomorrow and Saturday, especially I'm assuming this defense is better than the Pels, because the Pels is quite literally the worst. What is the starting lineup's offense going to look like with Derek Lively playing free safety off of Chris Dunn?
So he just
or whoever's playing free safety off of Chris Dunn, I should say.
Is he going to play in both games too? Because he just came back. I think I played 15 minutes last night or the day before. Lively. He might not play the back-to-back, both games.
Yeah.
It's a good call.
I wonder
if you're gonna pick which one of these games to go to the one on Friday. That's what it sounds like.
You know who's been cooking for them?
Najee
Marshall.
Whose nickname that I learned today is the Knife. Very old school mobstery nickname, and a style of nickname we need to bring back.
Well, he averaged 20 last month. He's been good.
Like that. Yeah, I don't. It's going to be good basketball, but I don't know. Will, what do you think the Clippers got to do to what?
Just win, baby.
Got to win.
Thank you.
Let's not overcomplicate this. Just win.
Just staring at a clipboard, just scratching your head, writing "win."
How about
I wrote down "win" on the whiteboard, underlined it
twice, guys. I underlined it frickin' twice, just at halftime. I want to see the Clippers be better about the little things, because they were not locked in for like maybe half of that game against the Pels, right? Like, there were some boneheaded turnovers, I would say.
Yeah. I didn't like the level of effort, but it could have just been they were tired, because they all said so afterwards. They gave up 70-plus points in the paint to the Pelicans, which wasn't cool. That's something they've been good at all season long. They need to be good at that against Dallas. Hold them down. Hold them to 45 or below.
Or just beat them in points in the paint, because they're big, right? I think, Adam, you mentioned that last time. They have their 3 biggest guys back. It's not like we played a giant Pels team yesterday that was bullying us in the paint. We were just like, it was just kind of sloppy.
Yeah. They looked a little bit unfocused at times. Maybe they were looking ahead. I don't know how you can look past the Pelicans, though, if you're the Clippers. That's crazy.
I don't think they were looking ahead. Will, what are you hoping for from Norm? You were the one who was like, I think Norm's going to get it going against the Pels. We all agreed, because it's the Pels, but maybe it happens against a better team.
I mean, that would be great. Having him able to effectively space the floor would give some more space to operate, and especially, I mean, I'm assuming he will end up playing the back-to-back, right? I
think everybody,
everybody that's not Kawhi or Ben, I would assume is good to go. So he's got kind of 2 shots here, both at home, to sort of ease back into it. And it'd be ideal if he could have it in both games. But, if he has a colder game one, but can really, can put up 30 plus in that second game, that'd be smoother sailing.
Yeah, because being okay tomorrow isn't obviously as big of a drop because everyone's playing.
But at the same time, like, because there's like less pressure in that situation, maybe that's how you get the rhythm back. That's how you kind of get into it.
It's a good call. Yeah, man. Just one good Norm game would be great over this, just for some kind of grab some momentum for it.
It feels like there's a real adjustment going with Norm right now and just finding his place consistently in the offense when they're healthy. I don't know. Norm is somebody that's so efficient. When he's at his best, getting 15 shots is plenty. That could get him to 21 points. So he doesn't need a ton of shots, but maybe some of it just touches, rhythm, timing in the offense, just being a part of it a little bit more consistently throughout each quarter. I don't know, because, Kawhi, and this is a good thing, has been taking over a lot and looks amazing. So it's easy to get lost in the shuffle, even if you're somebody who is a leading scorer throughout the majority of the season.
That's a good call. I haven't looked at his foul numbers either. If he's getting to the line at is good. I don't know if good's the right, you know what I mean? Like if that's, I wonder if that's, if that's affecting him a little bit too, rhythm wise. Cause it's not a small part of his game. It's something he's very good at, obviously, is getting to the line. So that'll be something to watch for, I think, more so in that second game, just when the Clippers are shorthanded. Like, can Norm bail us? I'm sure we'll need to get bailed out of some possessions with no Kawhi and Chris Dunn. And because I was like in the starting lineup for the second game with Kawhi out, is Derek Jones Jr. in there and Dunn? Because then the bench gets really weird.
That's what they did against Cleveland. That's a good question. And it might be different because it's Dallas, but I could see that because, first of all, we thought Amir Coffey was going to start that game against Cleveland because they said it a couple days earlier.
Now he's hurt.
Now he's out. I could see him going right back to it, I guess.
It makes the bench so weird because then it's Ben Simmons and Bogdan off the bench.
Yeah.
And Eubanks. If we need to, we talk about the fresh maker. If we really need to break in case of emergency, we got Eubanks. We got Eubanks right there. Yeah, it's gonna be weird. I thought Ben Simmons was a little loose with the ball yesterday. He had one turnover where I think he just looked directly at the Pelicans guy and just passed it directly to him. I think the Pelicans did the exact same thing on the next possession. But we don't need Ben Simmons to be sloppy when handling the ball.
He hasn't looked quite as sharp recently.
Yeah. It's the knee thing that we know absolutely nothing about. He's just dealing with more pain, it seems.
There was some swelling.
Fuck, I hate swelling.
Adam, have you told him yet that he just has to be better than Mason Plumlee? Maybe you could just tell him that in person. It'll take some of the pressure off.
Hey, Simo.
You got one job here, man. You got one job. Just be better than Mason Plumlee. Don't gotta do anything fancy. Just be better than Mason Plumlee. You'll be all right.
Those shirts would sell.
Be better than Mason Plumlee. I think all fan bases would buy that shirt. Also shout out the Clippers for the Ivica Zubats
that was
t-shirts, great. DPOY thing. I poo-poo a lot of what the Clippers marketing team does. That was phenomenal. That was one of the coolest things they've done, I think. Might buy the shirt. It's pretty sweet. Adam, do you want to say anything particular about the Clippers marketing department?
I thought they did a great job with that. I love the energy from this group right now. Even when they're arguing, it feels like they're on the same page. With Kawhi and James Harden out there yesterday talking through some defensive coverage stuff, and then Law asked Kawhi about that post game. I thought that was a really cool answer. He's like, "Yeah, we're trying to win, and we know that your brother has your back." It seems like this group is really, really solidifying and a really cool chemistry as we just got 6 games left. Like, that stuff matters. It does. Because tough times are coming. There's going to be some real adversity real soon.
Yes, and James Harden posted the photo of them all out with a drumline quote. So I don't think the vibes have ever been better than posting that. All right, anything else about this double Mavs back-to-back that we have before we make our player of the back-to-back picks, which is some of the harder picks we'll make. Not as hard as the 3 and 4 one that we did. Will, any final thoughts about this pesky Mavericks team?
Double dubs.
I put win ×2 on the whiteboard, guys.
They said I was crazy. Now look at us.
All right, Adam, your player of the back-to-back pick. It has to be someone who you think is going to positively affect both games, and it cannot be, well, quite literally, it can't be Kawhi. It can't be Norm, Harden, or Zubats. Or Bogey. No, you can pick Bogey.
Since nobody picked him, I'll go Bogey for these two.
Ah.
He's been hot. That's a good pick.
He's been Bogey. This is what he does, man.
Still Bogey.
Still Bogey, baby. But he's like, this is the perfect guy to be good over a back-to-back to get to 2-0 against this team. Like an efficient 16 or whatever, which I think is what he had last night. Probably be more needed in the second game, but
it's all about impact with my guy Bogey. Like, 16, 5, but he's controlling some of the offense. I'm good.
I would like him to score more than 5 points.
Hey, look, he hit a huge 3 against Orlando and made a great defensive play and helped him win the game. He didn't have a great game shooting wise, but you can still help.
That's just Bogey. Still helping. Will, who is your player of the back-to-back?
I'm going to go DJJ.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's going to be back in the starting lineup in that second game, and we're gonna need him.
Yeah, he's the guy who's let me down, I think, when I picked him. So I hope he plays better.
Oh yeah, I've been burned on this one multiple times. But you got to get the shots up.
You got to get. Hey, you know when a shot doesn't go in? When you don't put it up.
When you're not shooting.
I'm going to go Batum because there's going to be some wonky center lineups. He's going to try his best to not have to play Drew Eubanks tomorrow. And then we don't know what's going to happen on Saturday's game. So I'm going Nick Batum. More of that same, as Will said, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, more of the same of what he does, which is very good defense, move the ball, hit threes when the opportunity presents itself. Like, it's
raise the floor of all lineups that he's in, basically.
Yes. The simple task of raising the floor of every lineup that he plays with, which he's really good at, thankfully. He actually does do that. That's my pick. And I think we're going 2-0 on this back-to-back.
I think so, too.
Feeling
For some
good.
reason, I'm more confident after last night's game. I don't know why.
Interesting. Well, and I feel better too because like the Spurs game on Tuesday, I'm not worried about that. So the path to 3-1 over these two final back-to-backs is very much there.
Is the real battle for LA the Pelicans versus the Clippers?
Yes. For Clippers fans, it 100% is. Damn, that's a good one. All right. I think that about wraps everything up. We're going to be back with a full pod on Monday, probably some post-game lives after one of the Mavs games. Who knows? Could be a fun time. Will, where can people politely suggest to their significant other that they should listen to this pod so they can just, connect a little more?
Yeah. Tell your significant other to check out this podcast wherever they get their podcasts if they're not already listening to this. If they happen to listen over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, they leave a little rating and review. Helps us out, and leave comments over on Spotify. But the best way to tell your significant other to check out this show is over on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. You can even watch it on the TV. Have a little couple time. You don't have to watch separately or listen separately. However you consume this podcast, we appreciate you.
We absolutely do. Maybe your significant other responds better to you holding a big boombox, playing an episode you've taken from us. You put it on tape, put it in the boombox. Maybe that's how it goes. Either way, please leave those reviews. Adam, one positive thing heading into this back-to-back that you're excited about that might be difficult.
Positive thing. I don't know. Ivica Zubac has averaged 19 and 12 his last 22 games. And I think the last time he matched up against Anthony Davis, he cooked him and outplayed him completely way back when AD was a Laker. Yeah, I'm excited for a rematch. I'm excited for Big Zoo to get a little bit more credit for the season that he's had by taking down another one of the best big men in the league.
There we go. The Zubats hype is absolutely real and deserved. All right, we will be back for y'all fairly soonish. Thank you for hanging out. And as always, let's go Clips.